More TTBurger game reviews here on YouTube. I'm your host, Tony. Today we have another remastered game review for you all here, episode 15 of my master reviews, part 1 of One Pot. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Bubsy the Bobcat. He was a character in 2D side-scroll games on Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and PC, and Sega Genesis, and more. But it wasn't until the 3D era of gaming, later on the PlayStation, we got Bubsy's first appearance in 3D here, which we're going to talk about right now, everyone. This is Bubsy 3D, or Bubsy 3D in the Forbidden Planet for the PlayStation, exclusively almost on the Sega Saturn, but never got ported to the Sega Saturn because, reason I'll explain a little bit, released on Halloween 1996. I was 7 years old when this came out, so let's get started. Bubsy 3D is garbage. Total burger puke fucking garbage. I played a lot of bad games in my life, and this is one of those, has to be one of the worst games out there. Almost as bad as Largo Winch Commando Star, almost as bad as Spawn the Eternal here. I mean, how can they fuck up this game? How can they fuck up Bubsy so badly? Well, here's how. They made Bubsy into a mockery by rushing the game out the door, and the end result of the game is, it looks and feels completely unfinished. How the problems here in the game were so bad that I didn't even finish. I couldn't even finish the game because I didn't want to, I just didn't care to. Out of 18 levels, I only made it to level 2. Yeah, you can get a story, but hell, I could not follow it that much because I did not care. Story is the wolves are trying to capture Bubsy the Bobcat. They see him as a threat and they capture him as hostage on the central planet of the Woolies that has no name. Now, Bubsy must find 32 pieces of his rocket ship to escape the planet and head home. It is good, but the story is forgettable. You do not care about the characters. You do not care about Bubsy's situation or anything. Finding the rocket ship pieces is a chore because of the many problems the game has. This is a 3D platform, which is fine. Some of the games like Crash Bandicoot, Super Mario 64, Crack Legends, other Gobos, and more. But the controls and gameplay are horrible. All I can say about the controls is, my god, they are so bad. So stiff. So delayed. Bubsy controls like a cement tanker on ice that lost its brakes downhill. There was a delay when you press the buttons that makes you run into walls and you can get killed. Like in most platforms, you spend time collecting atoms that are like coins or wumpa fruit or so. And you have attacks as well, like jumping, or using atoms to shoot the enemies by collecting them, right? Well, this is where you're wrong. You don't just use the atoms by collecting them, you have to hold down the square button as you approach an atom, aim it with the D-pad before it blows up in your hand, and you shoot them with the enemies and stuff. You have to hold down the square button as you approach an atom, you aim it with the D-pad before it blows up in your hand, and you shoot the enemies with it. That is, if you can aim properly and doesn't ricochet out the wall and hit you and explode, costing you some health. And you need the atoms to find all the parts of the rocket ship which could be hidden behind walls that you must destroy. But they don't give you an indication on which walls can be destroyed and which ones are not, like you're running amok like an idiot trying to find all the rocket ship pieces. The worst part about the game is the jumping. The jumping is so bad, not just because of the controls, but when you jump, the camera zooms down to the ground where you will miscalculate the distance many times. Jumping on enemies is useless, because you don't know if you're going to jump on enemies or so, and the enemies don't even move or attack you, they just hurt you by running into them. When you get hit, Bubsy gets dizzy and spins around like he's a washing machine or something like that, and it gets back up, wasting precious seconds. The camera is a nightmare. You cannot move it manually at all. It follows Bubsy's back everywhere like you're being stopped by the Woolies with a tracking device. I only made it to the second level because of this and I was done. I could not take it anymore. I mean, look at these amazing graphics. And I put that in quotes because there's nothing amazing about this shit. Bubsy looks good, probably the best part of the graphics, but everything else looks like burger shit. This is one of the main aspects of the game that feels rushed out the door. The levels look so unfinished, like what the fuck were they thinking? This is like a beta or something like that. I mean, look at those dark squares on the ground. What is this, checkerboard land? And the enemies are just green blobs that look like they could be used in other games. Crash Bandicoot came out months before this, and it looks 10 times better than this garbage. At least the frame rate is decent, I guess. Sound is a little better. Music is okay, a little annoying because they loop over and over. It is passable, I guess, but the voice acting is so annoying. Bubsy talks and explains, which is fine, but his voice is ear raped, so annoying. His one-liners get so fucking annoying, like, shut the fuck up!
Oh look, an arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful? So you wanna be a video game star, huh? Click the atoms on the ground!
Like, yeah. Thankfully you could turn the voices off, but I should not have to do that in the game at all. Bubsy 3D could have been a fun game. I mean, there are other Bubsy games that are more enjoyable, but they fucked this up and murdered it. And this is his first 3D game. It's the best they could do. Usually 3D games of a character in it are better. It's a step backwards here. Hell, I should also mention you have two endings depending on how many pieces of the rocket ship you find. But they are both bad endings because one of them has Bubsy stranded in space. That's the ending where you don't get all the rocket ship pieces. Here's the good ending. When you get all the rocket ship pieces, it leaves Bubsy stranded in the Stone Age and the Woolies end up winning. And all the work you did for those 18 levels, and this is what you get. Pathetic if you ask me. And you know what the sad thing is? When this game came out at first, I enjoyed it. And I have no idea why. Then again, I was just a 9-year-old kid when I got my PlayStation, stuff like that, so yeah. Which leads us to our TTBurger pros and cons chart, and this is going to be an interesting pros and cons chart here for sure. For the TTBurger pros, Bubsy makes his debut in 3D. Bubsy's character model is okay looking, you can collect atoms, frame rate is okay, the music is decent. For the TTBurger cons, uninteresting story, that you don't even care for the characters. Ugly, unfinished graphics, horrible controls, and stiff controls, jumping is a nightmare, camera is terrible, tedious gameplay, both endings are bad, not worth getting in the game as a whole is total garbage. Which leads to final thoughts in this review. I give Bubsy 3D a 1 out of 10. It's the best score I can give it. If you want more Bubsy, just get the classic 2D Bubsy game. Or get that PS4 Bubsy game, which was not that good. But still, it could have been a much better game than this. That's all I'm saying. Just don't even waste your money on it. That's all I gotta say. It's Tony. Peace out. Have everything still in the next video. Take care, everybody.